So, this was a rather interesting choice of mine here. Believe it or not, originally this could have been Super Baby Geniuses 2. Or it could have been Hoot. Or it could have been our Squirm Generations commentary of the odd life of Timothy Green. And don't worry, audience, we will be tackling that abomination again someday. But no, Dwibs actually sort of accidentally got me to pick this movie, Aladdin. Why? Well, because he made me realize something. That The Wiz is a better adaptation than this. Now, you're probably thinking, Jova, why would you compare The Wiz of all things to this? Oh, it really got me thinking. For instance, both this and The Wiz have directors who generally do not do musicals, like, at all before, suddenly trying to take a whack at it. And when I compared points, I really stopped down and thought that, wow, okay, this is probably a better made movie, but in a way, it feels way less soulful, and I can see why The Wiz garnered more of a cult following than this movie. So, we'll be here to take a look at what happens when a ginormous company decides to basically think, hey, we can wing it again with this old project of ours, one that had controversies in the original film itself here and there. Also sort of cited the huge era where Robin Williams pretty much told Disney to F off until they finally reunited with him for the third Aladdin movie. And among many other things, sort of got people starting to realize, hey, maybe Disney are back in the know here and there. With the original here. The remake, on the other hand, is kind of an anti-version of that. Because, you see, I think the best way to describe this movie is that this movie was definitely around the point where people were pretty much starting to get fed up with the Disney live-action remakes. Oh, don't get me wrong, there were people who were already...
$1 billion.
Well, Dwibs, just because something makes a lot of money doesn't mean that a lot of people like it, despite what, that may suggest.
Well, if they were fed up, they should have made Dumbo numbers, but, well.
You'd be surprised, though, how many dumb teenagers go to the movie theater just so they can, sit around and on their phones. There are apparently the stupidity goes wild sometimes when it comes to these things.
There's a lot of factors in mind. There is general cultural hype. There is people who are literally taking something for their kids to entertain them in, and then there are people who don't know better. And to be fair with Aladdin, this remake did have... I don't know if hype's the right word, but it had a lot of something going for it. A lot of... Yeah, let's go with buzz here. Basically, folks, you may recall this movie as being one of the most controversial of the live-action remakes from the get-go when it was first announced. Why? Because they announced that in the starring role of the Blue Genie, and I'm not kidding, you would think that from the credits the Genie is pretty much the main hero of this movie. They had Will Smith as the Genie for a replacement of Robin Williams. Will had not one, but two big pairs of shoes to fill, since not only did he have to follow up the talents of Robin Williams, but he also had to follow up the talents of the Broadway version of the Genie from the Broadway Aladdin musical, Mr. James Monroe Iglehart. Now, I'll go more into that later, but all you need to know is that when this movie came out, reactions were very, 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 very split. The movie came about, but it made enough money to guarantee that there'll probably be a prequel and a sequel of this movie here and there. As for me, I will just say this, I don't hate this movie. That said, there are loads of problems with this movie that definitely rank it in, well, shall we say, sort of the did this really need to exist here. But let's not beat around the bush. Start at the new and improved, or, the current Disney logo. And let the carpet ride begin in 3, 2, 1, click.
For all this, Joe, we never actually said who made this movie.
Well, Dwebs, why don't you?
So anyway, this film was co-written and directed by, of all people, Guy Ritchie.
All right.
Uh-huh.
In case you don't know,
you're the Guy Ritchie fan. Why don't you
in
explain?
case you don't know, he's been involved in stuff like the recent Sherlock Holmes movies.
Recent.
And before that, he did stuff like Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Now, Guy Ritchie at this point was coming off of 2 box office flops in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and King Arthur: Legend of the Sword. Fortunately, at least fortunately for Guy Ritchie, this movie made well over $1 billion, so it helped rejuvenate his directing career.
Miraculously. So we start this movie with a fake out instead of going to the
However,
big...
as Jova mentioned, like the director of The Wiz, Guy Ritchie has no experience in musicals.
Oh, and we start this movie immediately with Will Smith here. Like I said, we start this movie with a fake out. Instead of the big, ginormous ship, we start on the smaller ship, which has true values on it. Would you say it has family values or family matters on it, Will?
Hey, Jova, do you smell that? I smell your favorite trope, in media res.
Well, that's the thing.
It can work.
Okay, that's the thing. We're technically not supposed to know it's in medias res, even though I kind of guessed the first time I'm watching it that it was.
Well, we're literally about to say that anyway. So
Get it? He said, no, I'm not going to sing. But it turns out he does sing. Yeah, like we're not going to have Will Smith sing.
yeah,
Because he can damn well sing.
and yeah, might as well put it right now, especially for someone like you, who hasn't seen this movie. Will Smith is the only thing keeping this movie from being a complete train wreck. Basically, he single-handedly
Carried this movie.
He doesn't quite salvage it. Not really, because he's not in it enough to quite salvage it. But he's the only thing keeping this movie from being a complete waste.
Look, I will just say this. I wouldn't be surprised if the sequel focuses more on him because, honestly...
Well, apparently, yes, we're going to get a
Well,
movie called Genius,
it's not like they're gonna do a remake of Aladdin 2, are they?
Well,
You mean Return of Jafar?
that's the thing,
Yeah.
Glibs. Apparently a sequel's in the works, and from what we've heard, supposedly it will take aspects from Return of Jafar and King of Thieves, but not outright remake them. Also, hey Aladdin. And a boo. Okay, so let me start off with actually one of the reasons why The Wiz is a better movie than this one. The saving graces. As is mentioned, Will Smith is quite possibly the leading, if not the sole grace of this. Also, this is a pretty good rendition of Arabian Nights, so fair enough on that. But yeah, let's look at, say, The Wiz. It had way more than just one saving grace. It had songs galore, and most of the actors actually managing to try and do their best to help out the project here. With this, it's mainly Will Smith and maybe Naomi Scott, but her character has other issues that I will mention otherwise.
Oh, hey, Kimberly. How are you doing?
Does Will Smith ever do a rap at some point in this movie?
Yes,
Kind of, yes. And it is glorious.
You can't have Will Smith in a musical and not have him rap. Come
Oh.
on, like, even this movie would at the very least get that right.
Yeah. Also, apparently in this version, it's a lion's head instead.
It's like getting Hugh Grant in a movie, not have him stare and blink rapidly. I mean, that's what you hire the man for.
So, interesting thing. This was.
Oh,
this
wait,
was,
hold on.
okay.
I have to point out one issue here. So immediately, already, we kind of just rushed to the whole, oh, only the diamond in the rough here, to the point where it happens during the song. No, not really the worst thing, but it will sort of set up the pace of this movie here. This is one of those movies that kind of obviously relies on you having seen the original, because it kind of rushes through stuff that you're expecting or whatnot. Like, remember how in the original movie, the tiger head got so much buildup and grandiose poise and whatnot? You know, it was a giant being, literally made CGI to make it stand out here and there. Whereas in this movie, it's just, oh, there it is, and whoop, there it goes, mouth closes, goodbye.
And here I was thinking this was apparently a new version for a new generation or some shit, but apparently not.
All right,
Whatever.
so 2019 was actually a really busy year for Will Smith, not counting documentaries or cameos. This was the first of 3 movies that he was in that year. The other 2 being Gemini Man
which we
and
commentated
Spies
on.
in Disguise.
Yeah.
Which was a surprising hit of all things.
It was the best of the 3, so there's that. But anyway,
Well,
all right.
fortunately, he would be in Bad Boys for Life the following year.
Yeah, and we saw Jafar and Yago just earlier, which already prompts me to talk about one of my personal biggest disappointments with this remake: the handling of the villains. Let's get
Wait,
this out of the way
hold
now.
on. Maybe we should wait for, when they have more presence here, because right now
Sure,
Aladdin's
sure,
on
sure.
focus here. So Aladdin here
Well,
is...
from what I heard, he barely has any anyway, but let's go on.
So Aladdin here is...
Oh, and we're already doing the scene where he... Yeah, let's not try and at the very least, establish his character with a cool song like the original did. Nah, for what?
Anyway...
For the record, I was the one that showed Jova this movie for the first time. Go ahead.
So anyway, Aladdin here is played by Mena Massoud. Believe it or not, there were actually 3 other actors set to play before him. It was either going to be Avan Jogia, Riz Ahmad, or get this, our good old pal from Last Airbender, Dev Patel.
Jasmine, if you want to disguise yourself and not for people to see you, you probably shouldn't wear those bracelets in here because there's no exactly. See.
Okay, those children were hungry, yes, but you still need to pay.
To be fair, the original movie did this too. Like, the idea is that, she doesn't know anything about the outside world, so she's not really used to, she doesn't, even the basic concept of commerce is apparently kind of lost on her. So to be fair, this is not necessarily a problem with this remake in general. Like, this was a thing in the original film as well.
I don't know. I mean, in the original, it felt more genuine. Let's just say this movie tries to play up Jasmine as way more smarter, so you think she should maybe know better. Anyway, Shiroi, have you seen this movie
Yes.
before?
I saw it in cinemas.
Okay, so what's your stance
I
on this
didn't.
movie?
It's just kind of there.
I can understand that, yeah. Don't get me wrong, this movie has loads of problems, but I could maybe see them fixing stuff up with a later movie here and there, unlike certain other Disney live-action remakes I'm waiting to get to Yumu on.
Yeah, here's something that me and Joba talked about.
I think I see the main issue now.
Yeah, here's something that me and Joba talked about when we first watched this. The order of the events in this movie is kind of a bit,
Weird.
screwed up for some reason. First, now we have One Jump Ahead. You'd think it would be, you'd think the movie would kind of start with it, but I guess not.
Now, if I can give Mena
I
Massoud...
was on more about the camera work.
If I can give Mena Massoud one thing, the guy can definitely move and stunt act, so he's good with that. And I'll admit, the rendition of the song here is nice. That said, I am gonna agree with what some people have said, that this movie should have maybe been shot more like a Bollywood flick. You know, with how Bollywood flicks love to do their over-the-top action and whatnot here and there, but still have it well shot.
His singing is serviceable, but he's definitely no Brett Kane.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Okay, look, it's not like Emma Watson where they clearly cast the actor or actress just because, hey, I recognize that person. So he can actually act and sing, but yeah, the singing is not exactly phenomenal.
No. Brett Kane, the singing voice of Aladdin in the original, did a great job, but this guy is just serviceable.
Okay. Okay. Now, in terms of Guy Ritchie, I haven't seen this movie, but I did see the one he made after this. Called The Gentleman. It's basically him going back to his roots, making British mob films.
Was it good?
Basically, this was the. Okay.
However, that's also the thing. Guy Ritchie's style of filmmaking perfectly suits those kinds of movies and Sherlock Holmes as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think based on what I've seen so far, it doesn't really seem to be suiting it here.
Honestly, I think it's perfectly clear that he needed a hit bad, and this was sure to be a hit anyway. So
Oh,
this
yeah.
was a movie that was made to pay the bills.
Okay,
basically,
Well, yeah,
as
it's
far-
like I said,
as
it's
far as
past
he was
two.
concerned.
It's like I said, its past 2 movies were box office failures.
if I can give him credit, this movie wasn't so much a surefire hit since this was around the time when Disney remakes were not doing as well. Dumbo here and there. And this movie's fate was very uncertain with a lot of stuff at hand here and there.
Yeah, and here's another problem I have: the pacing is awful. Already, we're doing the whole "you can do this" thing with the princess, like where they're running away from the car instead of actually, like the original paced this relationship a lot better already. Like already, the pacing is off as hell.
Originally,
They kind of skipped ahead the first few minutes of the movie.
would you
You-
say,
so you-
Shiroi, that they took
She
one jump
jumped
ahead?
Corner.
And Aladdin died.
Or so they thought. But yeah, it is a weird decision choice. On the one hand, kudos for trying to make some different decisions to not make this a one-to-one, it's the same kind of movie here. But here's the thing. Whereas Lion King's issue is its lack of originality, I dare say part of this movie's problem is its penchant of, doing stuff a little too differently. And speaking of doing stuff a little too differently, let's get to this elephant in the room here. Okay, first off, let's talk about okay. I'll let you talk about Jafar, but I need to say something about Iago. So,
Sure.
you know how Disney actually got back James Earl Jones to play Mufasa in the Lion King live-action remake? Well, guess what?
Excuse me, Joe, but you mean animated remake?
Yeah, I know, they're calling it animated now since it's officially the highest-grossing animated film of all time, even though they were kind of going against that originally, but we'll talk about that later. For now, though, let's talk about Iago's problem here. So, Gilbert Gottfried has gone on to say that he was all for returning as Iago, and was annoyed that Disney never got him back. No, instead they got Alan Tudyk. Okay, fine, Alan Tudyk can be funny, except they have Iago pretty much be a generic parrot.
That's the thing.
He says one thing here and there, but he says even less than the original Iago.
Yeah, how his role as Hey in Mulan was more dignifying, and that.
Ooh. Oh God! Wait!
Hey,
Alan Tudyk was in that.
The chicken sidekick from Moana. Well, remember Joe.
Oh yeah,
Alan
that's
Tudyk
right.
is.
Really?
Remember, Joe. Alan Tudyk is the John Ratzenberg of Disney animation now, ever since Wreck-It
All
Ralph.
right. So the actress playing Princess Jasmine this time is Naomi Scott, with her previous movie being Power Rangers, which was good but wasn't very profitable.
Well, yeah.
But although in terms of films released in 2019, on the subject of profitability, this film was at least more profitable than the other ones he was in that year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, if I can
Charlie's Angels.
If I can give them credit, there are much worse movies to be made a profit of, and while this movie has a lot of problems, if they are at least willing to improve, I will assume this movie's success as a necessary evil, if only because hopefully they'll branch off into newer and better things here. Naomi Scott is again considered one of the better things of this movie musical. One of the redeeming and salvaging things, though, well, that depends on if you like what they did with Jasmine's character here. On the one hand, you could say that they made Jasmine somewhat more fleshed out as opposed to just wanting freedom or this and that. Like, she has more goals here and there. The problem is how should I put it? It kind of
by the numbers.
Not so much that. It feels like it doesn't mesh well with the pacing of the story, shall we say. Let us not forget, the main plot is supposed to be about Aladdin and the magical lamp here and there. Don't get me wrong, fleshing out Jasmine's character is all well nice and fine, but we mustn't forget where the focus is supposed to be. Jasmine's side plot is kind of the reason a lot of this movie gets maxed out time length-wise, as it goes into a lot of stuff involving politics and a weird new character that...
It's kind of a back and forth between the two plots.
It
Pretty
also
much.
It probably has to do with the fact that this opening is rushed as fuck. Seriously, we're 15 minutes in and we're already doing this scene. I want to
Yeah.
remind you. Seriously.
Well, it's been a while
Um,
since I've seen Aladdin, the original. I mean,
I can
Also,
tell you that the original was much better. Go ahead, Joe.
Also, I love that little bit. The queen was killed. Yeah, that's totally not gonna clue anyone in on that. But yeah, basically in this version, they actually explain what happened to Jasmine's mother, that she was killed.
Oh, nice. All right, maybe it's the rush that's how pacing, but I also don't particularly buy the chemistry between these two, to be honest.
It's like I said at the start with the lion's head, as it's now called here and there. A lot of it feels like them wanting to get this out of the way. It's like, okay, you've seen the original, well, let's get through this, but now we can get to the new and better stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the stuff that they do focus on is nice, new, and interesting, but in a way, it feels like one of those cases where the movie, I don't want to say it feels ashamed of being based off of the original. It's not to the lengths of Mulan 2020, but it does get that inkling sort of which, especially when we get back to talking about Jafar. But speaking of which, yeah, like I said, with Iago, so you had the chance to bring back Gilbert Gottfried, and you didn't take it. Oh God, Prince Anders.
That in particular is incredibly offensive to me because I am a huge fan of Gilbert Gottfried. Like, if you haven't seen his stand-up, go to YouTube and freaking watch it. The man is freaking hilarious.
He guest starred in an episode of Angry Video Game Nerd, and the man still got it.
Oh, no. Gilbert is awesome. He's awesome. He has a unique talent that nobody else has. He's the only man in the world that can somehow go out of his way to sound annoying and somehow come across as funny. I don't even know how the hell he does it. It really is a unique gift that is entirely his own.
Uh-oh, the bracelet's missing, so she assumes that Aladdin stole it. Oh, by the way, speaking of rushing to get through stuff, let's see, checklist. Oh yeah, scene where Len defends the kids. There we go. Oh wait, I love this. Listen.
You talking to me?
I love how
Yeah.
it's not even the prince himself.
Classy.
It's not even the prince himself who says it. It's one of his guards here and there. I guess it's because in this version the prince is supposed to be nicer because they're making a flipping Disney Plus movie off of him. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, this is exactly my issue. Like, look at the way that scene with the Prince Ahmed went. Like the movie doesn't even seem to care much about itself. It just seems to be going through the motions. There you go. Now this scene. Now this scene. Now this scene. Like none of it. The movie never actually fleshes out each of the individual scenes so that it can actually have some kind of weight. Like it's just doing a checklist. Okay, now we're doing this scene from the original. Now we're doing this scene from the original. Now we're doing this scene from the original. Like seriously, and because the pacing is so rushed, like it doesn't really. Nothing sticks. There's no weight to any of this.
Well,
I don't care.
Is Guy Ritchie such a big fan of the songs that he wanted to get to them quickly?
I mean,
Apparently.
even with some of the songs, he cuts down on some of them. But look, see, Aladdin says sometimes we take. This was not one of them. It shows that he has morals. Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't steal.
And here I thought the scene where he gives bread to those orphans was the scene that was
Guys,
actually supposed to show us that.
Guys,
But anyway,
what a shock! She was actually Princess Jasmine.
I'm starting to think this remake was half an excuse. Okay, half of it was an excuse to have Will Smith as a genie. The other rest was just an excuse to put Naomi Scott in pretty dresses.
Honestly, considering how Will Smith pretty much gets top billing in this, again, despite the
her.
genie not being, the main character of this movie, yeah.
I love how bored she looks. Like, I get that it's intentional because she's bored of this guy. I get that, but I don't know. I feel like there's just I feel like Guy could have given her a bit of different direction there.
So instead of Prince Ahmed, this time it's a prince by Prince Anders, who is nicer, I guess. He's not too bright, I suppose.
He's played by Billy Magnussen.
Why is this guy getting a Disney Plus movie, Dwibs?
Oh, look at that, Jova.
He's he's a character.
Probably should mention that Disney announced that he would get his own Disney Plus project not too long after Mena Massoud mentioned that he hasn't been able to get a single audition after this movie.
Look at
Also,
that,
dude, what did you think was going to happen there?
Yeah, exactly. Look, Jova and Shiroi, Raja got the Lion King 2019 treatment. Like, he's
Well-
completely devoid of expressions and therefore devoid of character.
Honestly, I think Raja has more emotion than the animals in Lion King 2019. But okay, Pedro, I know you've wanted to talk about it. Let's talk about the
I was
main
gonna
canon
ask,
stuff.
are we gonna talk about Jafar yet?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do
Okay,
it.
so he's
I would-
played. All right, so as to who plays him, he's played by an actor named if I can hope I pronounce right, Marwan Kenzari.
Here, Jafar is a more subtle and younger version because Disney think that more subtle always means automatically better. See,
The big problem with Jafar in this movie is that, okay, the original...
why do you care about invading Shurabad? And trust me, they will bring that up a lot. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, that's actually a good point that Joe brings up. They added this extra subplot of him wanting to invade a neighboring kingdom, which...
Not only
I don't
that,
even
it's
understand-
Jasmine's mother's kingdom.
Why even... Okay, what is even the point of adding this in? Like, for the record, this doesn't... We never actually see this kingdom. We never actually got any actual proper insight into why he... Joe, but do we ever even explain why he wants to invade that place?
Because, more power and whatnot, and, show full force of might, and see how much more... Don't you see how much more mature this Jafar is? Because he mentions politics and yada, yada, yada.
It's okay. But basically the problem. The original Jafar was your traditional Arabian vizier, as in, he was a secret conniving. And thanks to Jonathan Freeman's performance, he was just deliciously evil. Paired with Gilbert Gottfried, they made such a fantastic villainous duo because they bounce off each other so well. In here, without
you can't be the Sultan because you're a girl.
Back to you, Pedro.
Okay. No, okay, so in here there's no funny Iago. I'll get to Iago in a moment. There's no Iago for him to bounce off of, because Iago does barely anything in this movie. So it's all relying on Jafar to carry the villainous aspect of this movie. And Jafar in this movie is so freaking lame.
Let me do a comparison here. In the original, Jafar was obviously evil to the audience, but was such a good soothsayer that to the characters, he was either friendly old wise man to Aladdin, friendly vizier to the Sultan, and while Jasmine saw him as a creep, she never really knew what his real goals and obligations were, essentially. He was the master trickster of sorts. Here, it's like, okay, yeah, he's supposed to be more subtle as a villain, but he acts more aggressive to the characters.
Here it is. The new song.
Oh,
by
the song
Jasmine.
appears this early?
Yep,
Oh,
it
you
does.
forgot?
Yeah.
Is this a new song?
Yes, Jasmine never had a song in the original. Now she's given her own "I Want" song, kind of.
Is it a good song?
No.
Well, okay. The song itself is sung well, and I get the mentality behind the song. It's the context upon which it's put into the movie here and there. And there is a point where it does fit well context with the movie, but that's overridden by the terrible scripting and stages. Sure,
Not
he
to mention
probably
this
knows
song
what
it-
I'm talking about.
Not to mention this song in general.
It's the I will not be silenced song.
Yeah, basically, it's exactly like it's like the unstoppable song from Spirit Riding Free. Like, it's just your typical "no man's gonna put me down" type of song.
Well, that's just a preview of what's to come, audience, I guess.
Oh, I was gonna say, wait, that's it. That's the whole song.
We're
That-
gonna have a reprise later.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but yeah, like continuing from Jafar. Okay, when I look at Jafar in this movie, I don't see Jafar. I see a random schmo cosplaying as Jafar. Like,
The problem with this movie is that it went to the Venom school of villainy here. Hey, let's make a villain who's not
there you
big,
go.
bold,
guys,
and...
Alan Tudyk's Iago said something. It wasn't funny, but he said something. Yay.
So
Go ahead,
I
Dylan.
guess he confides in the parrot or whatnot. Look.
Are you sure this doesn't make him insane? Talking to his parrot. It's like
Okay.
Aladdin talking to the monkey.
But
I mean,
yeah.
it's fine when it's animation, but when it's live action people doing it, it's just something just doesn't sit right.
But yeah, back to what I was talking about here. In regards to Jafar here, it's like, hey, supposedly making him a more subtle villain will make it, I guess, more amazing when he
Menacing?
goes out all evil. Like, I get what they're... Okay, maybe the mentality was that, hey, we can't have Jafar be as cartoonishly evil because he's not a cartoon. And I get that, but come on, maybe try and ham it up a bit more. Like, I don't know. I feel like the actor may have... Either the actor was miscast or they directed him terribly, but Jafar is so weak in this movie. He never really gets a big bombastic moment. Like, again, it's kind of like the bad guy in Venom before he becomes bonded to the symbiote. Hell, even after the symbiote bonded with him, the symbiote had to do all the acting for him. But you get what I mean, though. Jafar here, unfortunately, is a symptom of some of Disney's, let's say, some of their more recent thought of trying to go with more subtle or twist villains instead of, the obviously evil villains. Like, let's look at villains back in the Disney Renaissance era here. If there was one thing that was common among most of them was that they were evil, upfront about it, and they loved the heck out of it. Oh, sure, some were admittedly supposedly more legitimate, like Ursula, who signed stuff in contracts, but come on. Even she was evil and she loved it. Jafar is definitely a good sign of what the villains are like there. So, let's take Jafar, then put him with the more modern Disney mentality of, oh, villains needn't be so obvious, and instead let's try and make them more subtle and down to earth. And, well...
But then that created its own cliche people got sick of, the twist villain.
I know, right? Like, okay, Jafar feels like a twist villain without the twist. Like, we know he's evil, but he's acting like the audience won't know he's evil. There's a difference between acting like the audience don't know you're evil and the characters don't know you're evil. Jafar in the original movie was the kind of guy acting like the characters didn't know he was evil, but the audience did know. And it worked out immensely. Also, we have this stupid thing where Jasmine, of course, has to trick Aladdin into thinking that she's not really the princess. Which I guess, because she doesn't want him to take advantage of her because she's the princess or whatnot, but...
See, okay,
Why are you not slightly more disturbed by this?
Because Shiroi, she's a sanitized Disney remake character, and as a result, she reacts like a corporate puppet would, not as an actual person would.
It's weird. In some ways, she does kind of have a bit more character than the original character of Jasmine, because Jasmine in the original... Oh, she was good and all, but... How shall I put this? Jasmine in the original didn't really have much of a plot outside of, I want to marry for love. And she got it.
Well,
So-
yeah, my issue is, and like you said, that they try to do something more with this version of Jasmine. The problem is that what they're doing is just, it just feels like it's done in a way that feels, again, like a checklist. Go ahead.
Also, I love how her friend is called Dahlia.
Yeah. As for Iago, okay, I wouldn't even mind the lack of Gilbert Gottfried so much if they at the very least did the same thing they did with the genie, as in create a whole completely reinvent Iago and create a whole new type of funny sidekick character.
Oh, Pedro, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually have just the answer for you. They could have done what the Broadway version did. I was actually... What, have you seen the Broadway version?
No, well, no, that's the thing. I don't know.
Okay.
But go ahead.
What the Broadway version did was have Iago, yes, but instead made him into an over-the-top human sidekick of Jafar's, played by Don Dario Rivera in the original Broadway cast. See, they kind of did sort of a Lion King Broadway take with Iago, except instead of a parrot, he was a full-on human, who resembled his parrot, outtake here and there. Like, that's the thing.
Sure.
Remake y'all go into a more, into a character that suits the level of film that you're trying to make here and there. It's kind of like what they did also for Abu in, it's kind of what they did for Abu in the Broadway as well. See, in the Broadway show, Aladdin gets 3 friends, Kasim, Babak, and Omar here and there. 3 friends who sort of take the place of Abu because obviously you can't really train a monkey for a Broadway show here and there. So,
Okay, we cut away from that.
Shiro brought up a good point, actually, now that I think about it. But
Wait, which one?
If they really want Jasmine to feel more fleshed out and more believable as a person, why not have her do what Shiro suggested? Why doesn't she just actually find the fact that Aladdin suddenly broke into her room creepy and gets angry at it? That would be at the very least somewhat of a good character moment for her and actually give her more of a believable personality. But no, she just reacts like. She reacts like like a hopeless romantic corporate Disney puppet.
It's like in the original movie, it's like they met again at the palace, but like he didn't break into her room; he just appeared at the balcony.
Yeah. And remember, that's the thing. Remember, by the time he came into her balcony, he was already staying at the palace as a as a guest because he just came as Prince Ali and shit, so technically
because technically like he knew about all the princess stuff and whatever earlier on, and that kind of
okay, that's a bit of foreshadowing.
The order of the scenes in this movie are whack.
They are. Okay, now might as well.
I love Jafar's look there. Bitch, talk to the head.
Yeah. Okay, I'll admit, this scene is not too bad. It shows that Aladdin and Jafar had sort of similar backgrounds here and there, and it is interesting for us to learn a bit more about how Jafar got to where he was. That said, what this mainly amounts to is you and I are not too different, and this mainly foreshadows to show that Jafar's good at pickpocketing.
We're really not so different, you and I.
This particular scene is a bit more faithful to the original fairy tale from the 1001 Nights, the Thief of Agrabah, where Jafar actually meets Aladdin way before than he does in the original Disney film, and he does ask for his help to get the lamp and shit. Whereas in the 1992 movie, it took until like the 45-minute mark for Jafar to actually meet with Aladdin.
Oh, but look at this. Jasmine's heart has been broken because Aladdin did not show.
Oh no.
It hurts because this pretty much will not affect their relationship whatsoever.
Nope, not at all.
But yeah, Shiro, allow me to remind you what happened when Aladdin showed up at the balcony in the original film.
The tiger kind of.
And Jasmine literally said, "I do not want to see you," and then closes the curtains. So in here she's just kind of, duh. So it's just, like this is your way of quote unquote flashing Jasmine out, suck out all the personality out of her.
That's not just Jasmine, though. Like, pretty much most of the characters here, the actors are good, but the characterization is all wrong.
Oh, and don't get me...
It's not just Jasmine. It's like a whole host of characters.
Oh, by the way, and don't worry, audience, we'll get to what they did with Aladdin's character, but his requires us saving some stuff. Okay, to be fair, in this case they did say, take nothing but the lamp, and the lionhead never says, touch nothing but the lamp. That said, let's just say we're about to get to one of the more controversial parts about this movie regarding that.
Oh, really?
What the direction?
Well, sort of with the whole take or touch nothing but the lamp rule. You remember how it was in the original movie. The tiger head literally says, touch nothing but the lamp. In here, it's Jafar who says, take nothing but the lamp. The lionhead doesn't really specify on that. That said, let's assume that the rule is touch nothing but the lamp still.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like Jova said, it expects us to already be familiar with the original. Well, if you expect us to have seen the original beforehand, then why the fuck am I even watching this then?
Yeah, a remake should be enjoyed by old and new audiences alike.
Okay, so in this version, it's Abu that stops Aladdin from touching stuffing. Remember that scene for later.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, Abu has also been sucked out of all personality. You know, because that's the overall MMO of the modus operandi of modern live-action Disney remakes. Just suck out all the characters' personalities.
Okay, so Abu literally just touched some treasure right there. So shouldn't that have activated the whole infidels one?
And excuse me, Mr.
maybe the spirit is forgiving of accidents.
Excuse me, Mr. Jova. You see, she specifically said, take nothing but a lamp. He touched the treasure, but he did not take it. So technically, it checks out.
Oh, and don't worry, onlooker. I remember what he said there. That said, that line is later going to come in handy for, well, not too long from this movie.
The only possible explanation that I can think of is that by touching, they mean touch with the intent of stealing it. The problem is, well, in that case, you should probably be specific when you say it then.
Very much so. Never mind the fact that it was Abu that literally stopped you from taking treasure, but yeah, I guess Abu has a pretty weak memory. That or they realized, hey guys...
Or just a weak will, I guess.
And yeah, look at this. It would kind of literally be impossible to reach the lamp without touching anything but the lamp, since there's literally treasure on the steps. Okay, if I can give this movie some credit, though... If I can give this movie some credit, at the very least, the carpet looks nice.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Hey, they got the carpet right. Okay.
Well, it's not like there's that much to get wrong.
I mean, it's a carpet.
Well,
You say that, but then there's the rest of the movie, you know?
yeah.
Well, yes, you're right, but the carpet doesn't really give that much room for imagination on part of the writers.
Not really. Carpet actually has a lot of character. Okay. So he's just holding it. And looking at it. He's just... And now he's saying you've touched it! So was it touch or take?
Maybe Pedro's right. Maybe it's with the intent of
either that or
taking
the
it.
lion or the spirit of the lion's head is a huge douche.
I know, right? Like, again, I know it seems like such a small detail, but just a little bit of a rewrite could have helped you there. And again, it probably doesn't help that, you know, we were literally touching it before.
And now it's time for the action sequence that was incredibly cool in the original, but in here is just kind of passé.
Dead.
Actually, no, I haven't seen Hobbit 2, but is this what it feels like?
Well, I wouldn't know. I only saw the first one, and that was enough for me. And that's it. That's all the creative, cool stuff on the original action sequence are just basically...
Just squandered down to a few seconds.
Seriously, this movie feels like it's in a rush to end itself.
And it's still longer than the original movie.
Okay, you know, might as well talk about another reason why The Wiz is a better adaptation. Let's talk about comparing the villains here. Presence. Absolute presence. For as little presence as Mabel King as the Wicked Witch in The Wiz had, when she was on screen, she owned it. She was loud, she was boisterous, she was commanding, she was wicked, and she absolutely was ruthless in getting what she wanted. This Jafar, this guy seems like a pampered punk that I could knock down if I really wanted to.
He's completely unintimidating. He's a loser. Like as villains go, he's so freaking lame.
Like, you know, if there's one thing I will give Scar in the Lion King remake, at the very least they did actually try to make Scar look more intimidating in the Lion King remake, and actually made it so that
fuck!
he
I
was
should
more
have
of a
checked. I
fight.
should have checked beforehand.
Yeah, you should have.
Was that supposed to be a comedy scene?
That evil scream did not.
It's just lame.
It's probably not a good thing that I laughed at that, is it?
What are your thoughts, Zeroy?
It's not great.
That's putting it mildly.
I've heard better. Okay, and I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, it sucks that the guy didn't get any auditions after this, but his performance so far is kind of not very great. Honest.
To be fair, with this script, I'm not entirely sure if it's his fault.
God, who knows?
No. Other actors are giving a better performance of this script.
Okay.
I don't know. There's only Will is the only one that I would give that description.
Speaking of Will.
Hello.
Oh my god, suddenly the movie actually became funny. Okay. Will Smith is pretty much the equivalent to Jim...
What the impression?
Will Smith is pretty much the equivalent to Jim Carrey as Eggman in the Sonic movie. Everyone thought at first when they first heard the idea, what? No, seriously? Really? This is a terrible idea. To eventually agreeing that, okay, this was actually a great idea. It took a long time, and trust me, some of the previews did not do Will Smith any favors, but thankfully he came out hands down the best thing in this movie.
It was largely the audience fault for just outright assuming that he was going to try to be Robin Williams.
That and the CGI looks did not help at first either.
At first, no, that's true.
Like I said, Will Smith had not one but two big actors to follow. Robin Williams from the original 1992 version, and the actor from the Broadway version, who had kind of already sort of done an interesting take on the whole, hey, what if Genie is sort of a normal person just dressed as blue, because he kind of has to. So, yeah, let's address the elephant in the room here. When you get down to it, this movie is like a supernatural version of Hitch. Will Smith has to help a quirky loser sort of help out with romantic advice, while also finding love himself. Oh, goody, here we go. Little reference to the original, and one that's actually good. But enough trying to homage the original. Let's, do it for reals.
Not enough? Alright.
Here we go.
Alright.
I'm gonna say it, this is hands down the best song in this damn movie. Like, not just for the sake of, oh, it's my favorite, but no, it literally is one of the best renditions of getting a classic Disney number into live action. They get everything right. The singing, making Will Smith his own thing, having it be different enough, but still having it be a mystical and awesome looking venture here. That works wondrous. This is the level of stuff I want to see when Disney remake their movies. This scene right here describes it. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But I haven't made a wish yet.
Oh, look at that, Dubs. Will Smith is literally using Aladdin as his puppet.
Of course, we have Will Smith beatboxing.
Obviously.
And of course, we have to have him rap. Lightseed.
Has Will Smith been in Disney movies often?
Not often.
Hmm.
I actually don't remember any major Disney roles he had before this one. Did he? I don't think
normally-
he had.
I think he's more in. I think he's more in like Sony movies or
Yeah.
I've seen him in being a lot of stuff, but yeah, Disney stuff doesn't really come to mind. Also, I love how it is to go, hey, mister, what's your name? Like, I love how he pretty much disrespects Aladdin throughout the song. Again, it's interesting. Whereas Robin Williams went for a more quirky, friendly genie guy, Will Smith goes for a more sassy kind of, okay, I'm the real boss dude, sort of maverick persona here and
Yeah,
there.
you got another one. You can clap now. Mic drop.
Oh, God. I tell you, the minute Will Smith showed up, I was immediately having 100% more of a better time.
I just did a whole song and dance number.
Yeah, I love
reset.
that. I love that line. The whole song was the instruction. I love that line. Like seriously, it's like I wouldn't be surprised if most of his dialogue was improvised by Will himself because it's such a completely different level from the rest of the script.
Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the saving grace of this movie. Like,
I wouldn't say it's quite that. I still would argue that the movie still falls even with him because there's only so much he can do. But yeah, definitely he's the one thing making sure that this thing is not a complete train wreck.
what are your thoughts regarding Will Smith, Shiroi?
No, he's the best thing in the movie.
Yeah.
You can tell he's having a lot of fun. So.
Yeah. I'll admit, he is the main sole reason I would not mind seeing a prequel or sequel, because more of Will Smith. Although, I am wondering how the sequel is going to go, given a certain thing that happens.
Yeah, who cares?
But we'll get to that later.
I know, right? It's like we entered into a completely different movie.
Yeah. Ah! And look at that again! More references to the
That's
original movie.
fun. Why are you playing Hard to Wish?
Yeah, but where to go? Where though? You never said where.
Just escape.
Or you know, he could be one of those brickish genies and warp you to like the ocean or something.
Thankfully, he's not. Would you call it a whole new world, Genie? Itty bitty leaving space.
Obviously.
Now, yeah, surprisingly, the pace gets better regarding Will Smith's character. For the most part. Like,
I
seriously.
really like this scene. Hold on.
Yeah.
Ahem.
Come on, we need to save on the CGI budget.
Voila! In case you were freaked out by Blue Will
Sorted.
Smith, here he is. You know, is it just me, or have I noticed that the pacing got immensely better when the genie entered it? Like, they're actually taking their time to, you know, do the proper stuff from the movie instead of just boom, 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 rushing it through like it's a checklist.
I will, however, say that I still do prefer the way they handled this particular interaction that we just saw in the original. Because
Oh,
I think
yeah.
because I think Will was a bit too nonchalant about explaining his desire to be free, whereas in the original we literally saw the genie literally go, oh, and he literally like he really sounded really down on the fact that he's a prisoner, whereas in here he's kind of,
Oh, wait, hold on. I love this
wish you-"
bit. Oh, wait, I love this bit. Watch this.
yeah. I was like,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
you get to go to the cinema.
let's rewind the movie. Yeah.
That's again a neat little reference to the original, where it turns out it was all a movie being played by Genie.
Yeah.
Okay, I sort of get why Genie X's a bit more nonchalant about being trapped, whereas again, with Robin Williams, it was more like Genie was more of an emotional and open dude, and here the Genie is more of a reserved kind of guy who's, sort of just, reserved to his fate, and this sort of cool dude.
And now Will is acting like a teenage fangirl. Ooh, so who's the
Yeah.
girl?
What's their name? Like, jeez. He's so excited. He's a shipper.
I do like this little bit that they add, that there's a lot of gray
I like
area.
this one.
Yeah,
gotta be
you
more
have to
specific.
be careful.
I do like that they add this little detail in this version of the movie, how there's a lot of gray area to the wishes, and they do a better job explaining how some of the wishes work. So, kudos to the movie on that.
that guy was just booked from somewhere. I just want to go back home.
You are too good for this movie, man.
Oh yeah, you got to do the lab probing.
No Trixies again.
Yeah, no more freebies.
Well, there you are. He was specific there, at least.
Yeah, we'll have more room here.
Go.
Getter chic, yeah. The ruffian sort of look. From the hood, yo. Oh, God.
Well, at least the jokes here are funnier than the ones in the Gemini Man.
Oh, God, yes.
Well, the Gemini Man was trying to be super serious about itself.
Well, there were jokes. They weren't funny, like that one about. Like
You know what you'll find in Turkey?
Yeah.
Trust me, Shiro, you and Tio are in for an interesting venture when we get to a Generations commentary of that. The dialogue is... to say it was written by aliens would probably be too nice. An interesting joke in the movie, or social commentary about how Will Smith had to carry this movie.
I like this one. Yeah. So there you go. Apparently part of the spell in this version is that nobody will recognize him because that's how the magic works. Interesting.
Again, this movie...
My guess is they looked at the original film and they thought, yeah, how the hell doesn't she recognize him? Yeah, there is that moment where she goes, wait, don't I know you? But there shouldn't even be confusion. She should immediately recognize him. So I guess they figured, let's add this extra detail.
So there you are. Congratulations, John August and Guy Ritchie, the writers of this movie. You have filled in 2 plot holes from the original.
Well, again, that's the thing about this movie. It definitely has a rocky start, but then when the genie enters the picture, it actually does seem like it's picking up again.
Also, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, it probably does. You know, honestly, when I think about it, this movie, in a way, kind of symbolizes the current road structure of the live-action Disney remake trend. It had a rocky start with Maleficent, but then started to pick up with stuff like Cinderella and Pete's Dragon and The Jungle Book. But then in 2018, and then, I'm sorry, 2017, and then later 2019, it started to then go back down, unfortunately.
And now the movie suddenly takes a downturn again.
Speaking
because
of
now
which, oh boy, okay, hey guys, remember when this scene first showed up and it got downvoted to hell?
Oh, never mind. Oh, never mind. I forgot it's later. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Oh, I thought you were talking about this scene because this scene, when it first got...
No, it's because I just saw Jafar on screen. So I thought we were going to have another political discussion.
Not yet, but no. Let's talk about this scene. Okay, Will Smith can sing, but everything else kind of hurts this scene. Again, like I said, guys, remember when this movie was first uploaded to YouTube and it got downvoted to hell?
The trailer, you mean?
Well, I'm talking about actually the preview scene regarding this movie in particular. This scene in particular was previewed, and people hated it when it first came out. Not because of Will Smith. No, he can sing fine, but it's the way this scene is shot, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, one thing I will say in terms of direction, yeah, directing quality-wise, Guy Ritchie does a better job here than what's the name of the director of The Wiz?
Sidney Lumet.
Sidney Lumet. Than what Sidney Lumet was trying to do in the the last movie, because at least Guy Ritchie can be as inexperienced with musicals as he is. At least Guy Ritchie knows not to have the camera stand perfectly still, gawping at people,
True.
or shoot an entire musical number from behind.
True. That is one thing that this movie definitely does do better. It doesn't make.
There's problems. There's still some problems with the direction, but
oh yes. There are a lot of problems, and why I still consider The Wiz a better made movie than this. Also, believe it or not, this is not the first time Will Smith is dressed in drag. Wild Wild West, anyone?
Yeah. And this came out 20 years after that film.
But yeah, the issue with this scene in general. Think anyone else can maybe put their finger on what's wrong with it before I point it out? Should I?
I guess you're gonna have to say it. Go ahead.
Okay. The main issue with this scene is like, well, compared to the original, it is not nearly as bold and epic as it was. Comparing this also to the Broadway version, that one was also epic in its own way. You know, sort of making kudos for what it had to do not being animated here. Whereas in here, it's so by the numbers, which kind of defeats the purpose of this scene.
Well, Jova, actually, this song number basically is very representative of the film as a whole. Will Smith is literally trying his hardest to carry this the entire group of singers and dancers on his back, just like he's doing it for the movie itself.
You pretty much, congrats, Pedro. You pretty much pointed it out.
Himself.
Oh, sure.
Oh, shoot, sure. You may have been muted that whole time. Were you actually trying to answer me?
What?
I think there's something wrong with your setup, Chiro. You sound very muffled and cutting out. I don't know what's happening
I shouldn't.
Oh, okay,
Oh, no,
okay.
oh,
You
no.
sound better now.
Now
So what were you
you
saying
suddenly-
before all that?
I was
Okay, now
trying to say I've just been reminded that the genie was given his own arc, so to speak. In this.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Also, I actually do like this. I do like this scene actually.
Well, to
Oh,
be
yeah.
fair, his arc is just kind of the same. It's just they give him a girlfriend as well. But
Honestly, if I can give him credit, yeah, the genie's arc in this is relatively well and fine.
All right, let's see.
This is another interesting thing. How they bring up how, the people were a little too fooled with a place that supposedly never existed. Here, they actually have to work harder to cover the lie.
You see, Dubs, here's what happened. This movie really started really badly, so we need to bring in Will Smith to try to salvage whatever he can.
Pretty much. That's what it feels like. Like, the movie is immensely better when Will Smith is on screen. Though, I think it's time I talk about an issue I've had with this movie from the get-go, which... Okay, that was kind of funny. That said, though, it unfortunately brings up a bit of an issue I have with the main star of this show, Aladdin. See, whereas in the original 1992 film, Aladdin was a smooth talker. Like, no matter what scenario was in, he could pretty much talk his way out of it, for the most part, mind you. He was awkward, yes, but mainly when he was sort of by himself or with people he could be more open to and trust about. Here, okay, Aladdin was smooth as, just a guy in the streets, but when he's trying to lie, he stumbles a lot here and there. You could argue maybe it's to humanize him more, but I don't know. I feel like it kind of makes him seem a bit like a bumbling oaf here and there.
My problem is that, again, one of the primary things is that, remember, he's the thief of Agrabah.
He's supposed to be smarter than this.
Yeah, and being a thief, well, lying is kind of necessary if you're going to become a prominent thief, because you're going to need to...
Oh, you fudged it, my dude.
God, and okay.
No, seriously. In the cinema, when that happened, everyone in the room audibly went,
"Oh, yeah.
Oh God." Dude, you fudged it. Now get out.
Okay. And I love that line. It's cold and dark in the lamp, but I prefer it to this.
Well done, Aladdin.
Seriously. Whoever wrote Will Smith's lines for this movie, give that man a raise.
I'm still convinced he improvised all of his dialogue.
That wouldn't surprise me. Will Smith's pretty good at improv.
You should have stuck to talking about the jams in hindsight.
We probably should have rehearsed this.
So you gave him the look, but you didn't give him the
hold on.
charm?
I have never been that. Well, Will, you were in an even worse film than this a few months later, so...
Oh God,
yeah.
Gemini Man came after this?
Yes.
So...
I don't know, I don't know, that movie at the very least felt like... it was a failure, don't get me wrong, but it didn't feel like a soulless failure to me.
Yeah, I mean, Gemini Man is definitely a movie where you can tell that they were trying. Of course, they didn't succeed, obviously, but by God, did they try.
No, please. Don't leave us alone with these two.
Yeah, these two are arguably some of the weaker aspects of the movie. Kind of a problem when your main lead and the main villain are the weakest bouts. And this is again where I compare this to The Wiz. Yes.
Well, the whole thing you mentioned about improv and the whole jam scene thing, that was actually improvised by Will Smith and Mena Massoud.
Huh.
Well, there you go then.
Huh. Cool.
That actually worked out.
Maybe Guy and John should have, instead of written, just asked the actors to improvise all their dialogue, like Uwe Boll did with Rampage.
Well, if we did that page, we get Iron Man 2.
Well, just because it didn't work in one movie, that doesn't necessarily mean it won't work in other movies.
True. There's this one movie where practically 95% of the script was improv.
Rampage. Uwe Boll's Rampage, which is his least bad film, mostly because instead of him writing his crap writing, he allowed the actors to actually, and since they're Americans, they can actually, talk like actual Americans would. Because the problem with Uwe Boll is he's German, he doesn't understand U.S. culture, so he can't write for an American audience.
I'm trying to. I feel like there was another movie that had a lot of improv in it that actually turned out to be legit good, as opposed to just being a director's least bad film.
The Visit.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
The Visit. because me and
Wait.
Dribs, as we've talked about in our discussion video we made back when it first came out, me and Dribs are still convinced that there's no way he wrote that. No freaking
Yeah.
way.
Oh yeah, I'm with Jasmine. Wait, Prince Anders, you're still here? Seriously? Also, look at that. Now Jasmine's in her more iconic turquoise outfit, I get. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, you're back. Thank you.
Yes.
Save us.
You're a prince right now.
What do you mean compete with that? He's the lamest random cosplaying schmo you've ever seen. Literally anybody can beat him to the punch in a competition.
Was this Mena Masad lamenting the fact that Prince Anders is getting his own Disney Plus spin-off? Well,
Okay, in terms of Jafar, I do understand that it can be rather tricky, just playing a guy like that in live action, because the face animations you do in animation can't really be done in live action without it looking overly silly. But I'm guessing the main issue is that what they replace it with isn't great.
like, go for a different bout of ham here and there. Again, I point towards the Wiz here. Mabel King knew how to ham it up as the villain here, which gave her a lot of presence despite not having nearly as much screen time as, say, Jafar here is getting. Jafar, as a result, feels like a waste of a character more than anything.
He gets dragged over.
Or like pushed over. I love how the subtitle said forcible laugh.
Well done for your honesty there, mate.
Okay, now to his credit, this is where Mena Masao gets to show off his amazing dancing skills. No, seriously, the guy can legit move, actually, so...
Oh, no, I have no complaints about his physical acting. That's not the problem. It's more so, he doesn't quite have the same kind of charisma that Scott Wanger had.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, folks, I do know about the controversy regarding having, a Caucasian play what was supposed to be an Arabic role here and there, but,
Well, that didn't stop them doing that with some of the extras.
Well, remind me, Naomi Scott, is she of any kind of descent?
She's mixed.
Naomi
She's
Scott...
mixed. She's mixed
mixed.
race.
Okay, fine. What about God? What's his name? Aladdin's actor.
Mena Masao, yeah, he's apparently, I think he's the right race for this. I think, let me check.
Well, okay. If he's at the very least of descent, then I don't see a problem. Then, I mean, or what were we talking about specifically? The fact that the Sultan is white.
Let's see. Mena Masao is a Canadian actor of Egyptian descent.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good enough, I would argue. I mean,
I mainly talk about the controversies involving the 1992 version anyway, since, that one had this. Like, if I can give this movie some credit, it did try, at least for that regard and sake. So, yeah, this... Oh, go on.
To be fair, Princess of the Frog had a Brazilian white dude play Naveen. So
wasn't Naveen like? Oh God, I still don't know what nationality Naveen was supposed to be.
Well, considering it takes place in New Orleans, I'm assuming he's supposed to be African American.
No, Pedro. Naveen was a foreign prince, though, in the story.
Oh yeah, you're right. Never mind. You're right. Ugh. Well, wasn't his kingdom fictional though?
I don't think they ever state where his kingdom is from.
Well, okay. Regardless, he looks regardless, his skin is dark in tone, but the voice actor himself was a Brazilian white dude. So, and I don't remember anybody bringing a problem with that, even though remember the movie was advertised as the first Disney animated film with an all black cast, and yet the main male lead was played by a white Brazilian dude. So, and I don't remember anybody complaining about that, did they?
That wasn't so much a complaint. I think it was because
What?
can you hear me?
Oh,
Hello?
hold on.
Okay, you can hear me, but Pedro apparently can't. You can hear me, right, Dwibs?
Oh, I'm sorry. Apparently I completely cut out. Did you hear what I asked, Jova?
Yes. Yes. To answer your question, the difference with Naveen is Naveen was never stated to be a particular nationality of character here, whereas the
I
characters
guess,
of
sure.
Aladdin were kind of already set to be of that particular descent here and there. It sort of has to do with Hollywood not really giving people of a certain nationality here a chance to play, roles that they would actually fit for here and there and this and that. Whatever, though.
Sure. I guess.
Okay, so more Will Smith. That's good. It's magic. I don't have to explain it. I mean, I snuck past. Can't exactly tell that I'm magic now. Seriously. As long as they keep Will Smith on screen, this movie's good.
I'm not entirely sure of the need to give him a love interest, though.
Well, it's not the first time they've given the genie a love interest. Like hell, they gave him a love interest in the TV show as well, so I don't
guess.
mind it. They're such good friends.
The actress playing the maid, she seems a bit more invested in this than Naomi Scott, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from there. Honestly,
Naomi Scott, for the most part, is just standing there and looking pretty, really. She's just kind of there.
I think a
again,
handmaiden's getting more to do here than.
It's a shame because she proved in the Power Rangers movie that she's a good actress, so it's not like it's her fault. So, ugh.
this is why I said that I kind of agree with Jasmine being one of the saving graces of this movie, but only to a degree here. Yeah, they technically fleshed out Jasmine's character more, but at the same time, they kind of, have her do less in some variants here. I mean, maybe it's because the movie is lengthened out more, so she has to stand still for a few times here and there, but whatever.
Like I said, the only thing for me that qualifies as a saving grace, and even then I wouldn't call it
Oh,
necessarily
snap.
saving grace, is the genie. Oh, here we go. Oh, so now all of a sudden you're bothered by someone breaking into your room. You didn't seem to mind it the last time.
Well, that's because I guess she was more interested in Aladdin. Or as Jafar said, apparently she likes to mess around with civilians.
Oh, so let me get this straight. You see, girls, the lesson here is that if a dude breaks into your room, if you happen to like him, that's fine. But if you don't like him, then that's not okay.
And you should feed him to your tiger then.
I mean, here I thought it would just be not okay regardless, but hey, what do I know?
Okay, I do like this little bit here. Apparently the genie has a telepathic link to Aladdin, so he can help out here and there.
Well, to be fair, this is their reinvention of the whole bee thing from the original, so it's just so that they can do the whole genie subplot while at the same time helping him.
And hey, look, some nifty 2D animation.
Fantasyland.
Just be yourself. Oh
Have
my
you
god,
lost
a
your
funny
country?
line from Jasmine.
If you
Oh
lost
my-
your country.
It's like Will Smith is contagious, and suddenly he brings out the best in everyone in this movie.
It's like the country of Deerzar. Yeah, in fact, yeah, that's where I come from. I come from Deerzar.
What kind of a...
It's this country where everybody talks in incredibly incorrect grammar.
That sounds like a place where it would be hard to get anything done.
Oh, trust me, it is.
Yeah, like, I have to pay a quarter every now and then just to survive, or otherwise this awesome monster comes and kills me.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm not sorry. I'm not a very good.
And just right there, Raja showed more character than any of the animals in Lion King 2019 do.
I guess.
Would you say A Whole New World? Again.
Oh yeah, this is another thing, by the way. Like, this rendition of A Whole New World is just so
Yeah.
feels so fabricated. Like, okay, allow me to remind everybody who might have not, because I was there. You know, back in 1992, A Whole New World was the biggest. Like, it was the let it go of its time. I'm not even kidding. Back when A Whole New World became started airing in radios and shit, it was literally the biggest song hit that this has ever had up until that point. It played on the radio over and over and over and over again, just like Let It Go. It really was the greatest Disney song of all time at that point, as far as most people were concerned. So this is one of the big fan favorites, and this version that we're about to hear,
Let me put it like this.
It's not terrible or anything, it's just it doesn't hold a freaking candle.
Let me put it like this. This feels like what you would expect to be like a music video version of it. Like, imagine per se somebody made like an official music video of A Whole New World. This is what it would be like. You know, obviously, you know, the more
I don't know, Joe, but the music video from the original, what was that? The People Bryson, and who was the woman singing?
I forgot her name.
Because that pop's version is great, that too. So, and it has a music video in it even.
What I mean
So
is
I
like,
don't know.
well, this feels like a music video version of what. Okay, this feels like there should have been the music video version to go with this movie. Don't get me wrong. I like the instrumentation, but oh god! And can I talk about
Is there an instrumental version of this?
Probably.
I'm assuming the deluxe edition of the soundtrack probably has it.
Can I talk about another problem I have with this rendition of A Whole New World? Let's talk about the visuals for this. So, you remember how in the original they were going to all these cool iconic places, some of which served as previews for future movies, like when they went literally to Greece and Rome? We don't really get much of that here. Oh, sure, yeah, we get some scenes of them swooping down to some areas here and there, but no real Egypt or Africa or China. Hell, we don't even end in China like Aladdin originally did.
This is actually a recurring problem with most of these live-action remakes. A lot of times, the original animated films had stylized visuals that took full advantage of the fact that it was an animated film. However, because these are live-action versions, they can't do that, so they have to rely on incredibly blender visuals by comparison. Again, it's the same problem happened with Can't Wait to Be King in the Lion King remake.
Or how about Can't You Feel the Love Tonight? Which doesn't even take place during the night.
Can you feel the love this afternoon?
Which is okay. Now,
no, quite as punchy, does it?
Not to give Minima Sound credit. Unlike Emma Watson, he actually can sing and doesn't need auto-tune. Unfortunately,
the issue, okay, they're not. It's not that they're bad singers; they're just serviceable. They're serviceable.
That is again the problem. When you compare this to the original, like Pedro said, does not hold a candle. Also, instead of hanging out in Mulan's China, instead we're just back to Agrabah. Although this exchange here is pretty interesting. Funny, because last time you were down there, you nearly got your hands cut off, but beautiful, beautiful. Wait a minute.
This is starting to remind me of Lois and Clark. Because it was in Lois and Clark.
Oopsie.
Well, to be fair, this was a thing in the original too.
Yeah. To be fair,
although in here she's much more blatant.
Yeah. True.
I will give it that. I will give it the movie this. Aladdin's argument in this scene is actually a better argument than the one he gave in the original. Actually,
Yeah, that's the thing about
Yeah,
this.
it's like, yeah, hey, you were disguised too.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Pot, don't go calling me black.
yeah, true. I will give it that. Yeah.
That's the thing about this movie. Half of the time, it does feel like a downgrade. About a quarter of the time, though, it does feel like it is legit trying to improve stuff like a remake should. Which is what makes this remake especially frustrating. You know, now, like, a remake like Mulan 2020, I could go on and on about how it's just constant downgrade after constant downgrade. So, you know, I have no qualms with disliking it. This movie is frustrating in that I see so much potential here at the helm, but they don't take advantage of a lot of it.
That being said, I still don't buy this romance at all. They don't really have that. Their chemistry is not really believable.
Oh, yeah. Again, it goes to my major issue with Aladdin.
And one of the big reasons for this is because those first 15 minutes that felt so rushed. You know?
Yeah, it really... Yeah, you know, that's
Well, the movie's longer as well. That's even more odd.
Well, here's the thing,
Yeah.
Dwibs.
Oh, hi, Iago.
It's like I said, Dwibs, ever since Will Smith joined the picture, suddenly the pacing realized...
I actually like the scene, though. Now she goes to talk to her girlfriend about how the date was, and he goes talk to his bro how the date was. So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
Nice here. I actually do like this, actually.
Yeah. It's
Hello.
cute. Oh,
Hey,
sure,
Shirley,
you
just
missed...
look at that, Shirley. Jasmine is telling her girlfriend how the date went, and Aladdin is telling
Oh.
his bro how the date went. See?
This is adorable.
Also, Shirai, I'm so sorry, but you missed the ever so majestic reimagining of A Whole New World.
A
Okay.
whole. I'd more accurately call it a whole new bit outside our town.
Pretty much.
I
Shirai,
guess not as catchy.
Shirai, what are your thoughts on this movie's take of A Whole New World?
I didn't like it.
Ah.
Well,
Tell
It's
me.
not as
there's Iago again.
interesting looking as the original at all.
Let me actually,
Yeah.
let me actually finish my earlier point, though. Okay, so I wouldn't mind the lack of Gilbert Gottfried if it wasn't for the fact that they don't even try to reinvent Iago the same way they reinvented the genie to, have Will get out of Robin's shadow. Instead, they make Iago just a generic pair that sometimes says a couple things, but that's about it. And they bothered to get Alan Tudyk, an amazing voice actor for him, for reasons that don't make any sense. If you're not going to make him funny, why even get Alan Tudyk?
And again, it's baffling because Gilbert Godfrey was on board, but he annoyingly, as mentioned, he himself was annoyed that they never called him up for it. Even though you got back James Earl Jones for the Lion King remake, you didn't get back Gilbert frickin' Gottfried.
Holy crap, this actor is so badly cast in this role.
Oh yeah, Jafar. It's like, again, he does not feel intimidating at all here. Like,
He looks. Look at him. No, that's not Jafar. That's a Jafar lame cosplayer that doesn't know what the hell he's doing. That's what I see. Shiro, you're the cosplaying person here. Like, as far as Jafar cosplayers go, what do you think?
Well, it's a movie costume. It's a bit different, but
I don't know. When I look at that, I just see a bad cosplayer. I don't see Jafar. I'm not an expert, I know, but still, all I see here is a bad Jafar cosplayer.
fair enough.
Look at that. Even when he's saying goodbye Aladdin, he doesn't sound into... Oh, and now random slow-mo for some reason.
Guy Ritchie does this sometimes in his films.
My God, you suck. Then again, maybe you just miscast. What the fuck happened with this guy? Ugh.
Yeah, how's a genie gonna hear his wish though if his voice is muffled by
In the original Dwebs, he was like, "Look, I can't help you if you don't make a wish." And then Aladdin waves his head. Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Like
I never got. I'll admit this.
he slightly bended the rules. I actually don't remember how they did it in here, so let's see.
Oh, that's a big change. He dies.
No. He doesn't die, Dave. He's just
Oh.
Yeah, I never got that. Why doesn't Genie just save Aladdin? Like, I felt like at this point they were friends enough that Genie would have saved Aladdin even if he hadn't wished for it.
Remember,
Suspense,
Joe.
that's
Remember,
why.
not just that. Well, okay. To be fair, isn't there some kind of unwritten rule where he can't do anything without someone asking him to because of his bonds?
No, not really. He's shown constantly that he can do stuff whether or not he can do certain things, mind you, whether or not people ask for it. Hell, even Jafar as a genie showed that.
Backdating wishes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, basically he gets him to sign it in this case. But yeah, and even Jafar, when he was himself a caged lamp genie, shows that genies can do a lot. Just not kill people. I mean,
well, I guess sure. I guess it's just a plot hole from the original that they didn't bother to fix.
yeah, I was kind of hoping that they would have changed it. Like, okay, I get it.
I mean, they fixed a couple of other plot holes.
Like, okay, I get it. I get why story-wise they do it, obviously. It's that Aladdin can use up his second wish, so then, of course, there's the drama about how he feels like he can't really let Genie go and all that. I get that, but I was kind of hoping that they would have patched that up in this movie, too. We all did it together.
Yay!
That's the one good thing about. I can't even call it good necessarily. Also, yeah, Pedro, you have a point. Somebody had a lot of fun with Naomi Scott's wardrobe for this movie.
Not just that. Notice what Will just said. He has everybody fooled. That's the problem. I could believe that line if this was the original film. In here, how the hell can nobody see that this guy is evil? Look at him.
Yeah, again.
Does he look like a nice guy to you?
Not only that, remember, Pedro, the scene he had with the Sultan, he borderline yelled at the Sultan before hypnotizing him. Again,
Hey, Shirai.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the guy that really wants us to invade the neighboring kingdom might not be that much of a nice guy? What do you think?
No, he seems legit.
What do you think, Dibs?
Well, it's like I said before, I've never really been. I never really believed in the whole just because he looks evil doesn't mean that he is evil kind of thing. It's not so much that. I think it's his actions.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
It also doesn't help that we know he's evil already.
It's also the fact that even in his actions and even his behavior and overall way he speaks, he's so over the top, clearly, telegraphing his evilness. Whereas Jafar actually had the charm and wit to fool people. The original, I mean.
Like I said, Jafar in the original was hammy evil, yes, but he still acted charismatic to the characters he needed to fool. Whereas here, he's acted aggressive. Again, even to the Sultan before he started hypnotizing him. Like, I get it. He's supposed to be a more subtle and more down-to-earth take and whatnot. That said, though,
at least he's taking the initiative and destroying the staff.
Well, this is what he did in the original too, Dubs.
So that's the thing, though. Sure, you want to have him more down-to-earth. In a movie that still has a flying and free magical genie, may I add.
Okay, here's the thing. Okay, like Will said, yeah, obviously if you try to do some of the evil faces he makes in the original, it wouldn't really work in live action. Do what you did with the genie. Again, reinvent the character, make him more of a conniving schemer type of villain.
Yeah.
You could have done
This is
that.
supposed to be the reinvention.
Oh, by the way, yeah, remember this guard, Hakim? They're apparently setting something up with him.
I love how even when he's in prison, he's still acting like, okay, I'm arrested. Oh, well.
Don't you see, it's all going according to plan. Because Iago has the keys.
Would you please have a reaction to something?
Oh, Pedro. Be careful what you wish for. He'll have a reaction later, but it is, by God, just,
I don't know. At this point, anything is better than this. Go full ham. Anything to step up at this point.
So, yeah, let's talk about this point of the movie. At this point, there's a clashing of elements here. There's the good elements with Will Smith, and then there's the weak elements with Jafar that absolutely clash at this part of the movie. It's like the two sides are warring for this movie's soul or something.
So
Oh.
it's like Jupiter Ascending in a way. Eddie Redmayne, but he's not on screen that much as like the bright side, but the dark side is
The difference is
everything
that
else.
pretty much
Oh,
the only
everything
difference-
else except the music.
Well, pretty much there's the only difference is that Will Smith's brightness is actually intentional rather than unintentional.
Yeah. Okay. You remember how I mentioned issues I have with Aladdin? Well, this is where those issues come with a culmination. Like I said, Aladdin's supposed to be a sly, smooth talker and liar, but truly is a nice person underneath. You know, he just became a bit more of a jerk because he
He's a
wasn't too
diamond in the
sure
rough.
of him. Yeah, he wasn't so sure of himself, so he fell to doubts here. Aladdin in this movie, though, comes off as more a guy who tries to act nice, but is really a jerk underneath. Now, that's probably not what they intended, but look at how this scene plays out between him and the genie, and I think you may see what I'm getting at. Good point. Like, that's a very damn good point. And Aladdin, the way he's been going this movie, should absolutely get it at this point. I mean, I get why he doesn't for story's sake, but the way they've been working Aladdin up is like, well, he really...
You know what's interesting, Jova? It's the opposite of what happened in that argument between him and Jasmine. Whereas in the Jasmine argument, the extra added detail helped the conversation. In here, it's the opposite. The extra detail they add make Aladdin come off as more of a dick, because in the original it was a very simple argument. Aladdin knew that he couldn't keep up the facade forever without the genie because his actual country doesn't actually exist, you know. So, and that's it. That's all. That's a good enough reason for him to.
Oh no!
Oh.
Curtains.
Okay. I'm sorry I have to interrupt you, Pedro, but okay, ladies and gentlemen, Jafar now has the lamp. And what is the reason he managed to get the lamp from Aladdin?
He out-thiefed him.
Well,
Yes,
yeah.
apparently Jafar is now a thief, a street thief, as a street rat as well.
To be fair, this was mentioned earlier.
Jafar, aren't you afraid that someone will see you doing this?
I don't think he cares, Pedro. I think he's gone mad. But guys,
Look at him.
But guys,
oh my god! Even when he's doing an evil laugh, he sucks so much balls.
but guys, get this. The main reason that Aladdin left the palace was so that he could go back to his old home and sing a reprisal of Riff Raff Street Riot.
But why though? Couldn't you just sing this in the palace?
So he'd lose the lamp, I guess.
So yeah, so he
Seriously?
lose the lamp. Oh my
It's a
It's a
god.
musical. You gotta have a reprise.
In the original film, it made sense. Iago stole the lamp, but because Iago is freaking not even a character in this movie, I guess we can't have that. So let's have Aladdin lose the lamp because he's a freaking moron.
Also, Siri. Believe it or not, Siri, remember, this is the second time they're doing this particular reprise. Because they already did it, you know, after he was told that he was born a street rat and he died a street rat. You
Well,
know, like
it's
in the original.
It's the second reprise of it. It's kind of like how Go the Distance in Hercules has a second reprise.
Well, that's my point, though. In the original Aladdin, they didn't have two reprises of it. They just had the one reprise where, you know, he sings the sad version of Riff Raff Street Rats.
Sure.
Whereas here, they literally added it just so that he would lose the lamp. The music suggests this is a bad thing.
Sorry, GD spell.
He kinda
that's how
has
it
to.
works. Yeah.
He has to obey anyone who holds the lamp.
Yeah, yeah. Since you're not the Sultan anymore, you must lose your turn.
And here's another problem with the soundtrack of this movie. They don't have a dark reprisal of Prince Ali sung by Jafar. Granted, this Jafar probably wouldn't be able to do it that well, but okay, it's
That's why they
time.
didn't do it.
This is a point where I bring up another problem about why The Wiz did stuff better than this one. The music here. The Wiz had loads of problems, yes, but if there's one thing it got right, it was the music. This movie has a recurring issue of a lot of Disney live-action remakes. They either get it right, half-ass it, or get some of it right, or in the case of Mulan, just homage it to make it more realistic. In a movie that has a frickin' shape-shifting sorceress, mind you. This movie tries to recapture the magic, but it does not succeed, and it leaves out some pretty cool songs. Now, whether or not this is better than what they did with the villain song in The Lion King 2019 is your own.
I can't take this moron seriously. I just cannot. His delivery is so bad. It's so... I don't understand. Is it Guy Ritchie's fault? Is it the actor's fault? What the hell is going on here?
Well, I mean, okay, when it comes to directing actors, Guy Ritchie is normally either very good with it, but in his previous movie, King Arthur, there were a couple of really bad acting performances in that film. One was David Beckham, and the other was another actress who was...
Oh, guys, now it's time for Speechless to make its return, and this is where...
It's even worse because she was one of the main characters.
Okay, Shiroi, Dwibs, ready? This is where Speechless gets a little silly.
Yep.
Hey,
So-
we said stay silent. Why are you thinking?
Because
exactly
I'm
the thing,
about
but-
to make
It's
my
subliminal. They can't hear it. Like, this is actually happening in her imagination, I think.
Yeah, and it gets
Is it though?
weird.
It doesn't feel like it.
This is where it gets weird.
Jasmine,
And suddenly
doesn't have
Jasmine-
a very good imagination.
And now suddenly Jasmine is Thanos.
Yeah, she just snapped those guards away
Again,
from her.
imagination.
I know, but I don't get why it works like this. Like, why
In
does...
terms of the... So go on.
Why suddenly is she Thanos in her imagination? What is it supposed to resemble? That the world is crumbling around her?
I'm more bothered by the fact that, okay, I get it. This is her imagining. I get it. But from the perspective of everybody around her, what is she doing, like, outside of her imagination? She's just walking around singing, and nobody...
No, she's just standing there.
Oh, is she?
Well,
I think so. If this isn't her imagination, then she'd just be standing there.
it's weird
in
either
terms
way,
of-
though.
I haven't really mentioned the other screenwriter that much. This is the first film that he'd written in 7 years. He previously wrote films such as Titan AE, Charlie's Angels and Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, the 2005 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the Corpse Bride,
God.
Oh,
wrote
I
Corpse
like those
Bride as well.
movies.
and he was also involved in writing Dark Shadows and the screenplay for 2012's Frankenweenie.
Huh. Bit of a Johnny Depp
Huh.
buff.
Weird.
Oh, did they walk her over here? I don't quite understand then what happened.
No. She sunk her way.
The point is this.
No, she was. I
she
was
did-
right. She was there the
What
whole
was she-
time.
She was doing it in her mind.
That's the thing, though.
Yeah, I
That,
was right.
that scene is so terribly paced. Like, why are you all of a
Okay.
sudden having her sing like this? What does it help?
Let me put it like this. I think here's my issue.
Oh, wait, hold on. This important bit about Hakeem the guard. I love how Jafar's not doing anything to stop this. He's like, whatever, it won't work.
Yeah, he's loyal to me now.
Oh yeah, this Captain of the Guard now. Sorry, what was his name again? Razin?
Hakeem.
Hakeem.
Hakeem is now a character all of a sudden.
Well, don't you see? They've mentioned his name before, and they were hinting at this. Don't you see? The Sultan took him in. Yeah, okay. I will give this movie another thing. It does really address sort of the rule that really, when you get down to it, all the whole "make me Sultan" wish really did was just give Jafar a change of clothes, and supposedly he's ruler. 'Cause, yeah, even though he wished to be Sultan, you can still be overthrown, dude.
Okay, so here's the two issues. First off, that song wasn't even necessary. You could have just done this immediately. This scene, this speech that she's giving right now. This gets the message across. Second, if they were gonna do the song still, that shouldn't have been in her imagination. It should have actually been her, literally, giving Jafar a middle finger via the song. Wouldn't that make more impact than just an imaginary song that doesn't actually happen outside of her head?
Oh, but don't you see, Pedro, that wouldn't have been realistic enough for this ever so serious version of Aladdin.
Oh, of course.
Now, to be fair, that's not what they said, like with Mulan, but I wouldn't be surprised if they had that same mentality.
Yeah. Rub the lamp.
Yeah, that's okay. Again, kudos to this movie for actually pointing out how pointless the Sultan wish was. And actually addressing it. Okay, it is nice that Aladdin is the one who sort of gets to, let's call it, defeat Jafar on his first wish. Although, I just wish it had been paced better. And yeah, like Pedro said, having her sing it at Jafar would have actually helped the song number mesh in better too. Oh, hey Aladdin, I forgot this was your movie.
Not just that, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, that should have been your first wish, Jafar. And
well, I mean, to be fair,
came out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if I were this kind of guy, I'd wish to be the king or ruler first.
Yeah. Okay, that outfit does look nice. That said, the clothes are only as good as the people wearing them. So instead of turning Raja into a baby, he sends him to the dungeon, I guess.
So it's like 4 kids. Instead of killing the characters, they get sent to the dungeon.
Hey guys, I might as well remind you, because it kind of bears considering he's so little, and Iago's in this movie, despite it not even seeming like to.
Oh, don't worry, Pedro. I'm sure the movie will eventually give him a bigger role.
Oh yeah, clearly. Clearly sacrificing Gilbert Gottfried was totally worth it for this.
Oh, by the way,
Alan Tudyk.
By the way, guys, just showing you that, yeah, the truth about Aladdin was revealed. Yeah, if you blinked, you may have missed it. Jeez, that was some anguish screaming.
Oh, so what is the abominable snowman voiced by John Ratzenberger going to show up and say,
No.
"Welcome to the Himalayas"?
Remember, Webbs, this is Disney, not Pixar. So if anything, it should be an Alan Tudyk cameo.
To be fair, it wouldn't be the first time that a Pixar character has guest starred in a Disney movie or vice versa. Like, they actually did a Monstro cameo in Monsters Incorporated.
Sure. Please find me intimidating, or else I will kill you.
That's nice, Jafar. Now, why don't you tell us about how your mother never loved you?
Wow. So that's it. He just needs more hugs from his mother.
Oh, snap! We know the Sultan's name is Baba.
Yay?
So he's just marrying Jasmine to be a dick.
Pretty much. Or maybe just because it happened in the original. I don't know.
Well, okay, in this case
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Okay, his motivation for marrying Jasmine is to sort of get revenge at Baba because he hated being number 2 to him for so long.
he was just gonna kill. I thought he was gonna kill the pair of them and say, "Hey, you asked me to stop. You didn't say how." Lol.
In the meantime, Java here. Just to give you an idea. Alan Tudyk was King Canny, of course, in Agrabah. He was Duke of Whistleton in Frozen. Alistair Cray in Big Hero 6. Duke Weaselton, not Weaselton, Weaselton in Zootopia. Oh, and Villager Free as well in Moana. He was Knowsmore in Ralph Breaks the Internet, and he was also the Northoldra leader in Frozen 2. So he's the John Ratzenberg of Disney Animation, basically.
How nice. Wonder who he'll be in that dragon film.
Ryan the Last Dragon. Well, we'll see.
And we're back.
Oh,
Yeah, suddenly now the movie is once again getting back to that pacing problem from the first 15 minutes.
Oh, he was also K2SO in Rogue One. Okay.
Huh, neat.
He was also one of the rednecks in Deadpool 2. Okay.
Interesting. Yes?
Quick, Jasmine, wish for him to die.
You know, yeah. Okay, so Jasmine, rub the lamp. Rub the lamp. Rub the lamp. Rub the lamp.
Hey, Jasmine, you know that thing where you will not...
Does she do that in the animated film?
Well, to be fair, Jasmine never got her hands on the lamp in the original film like this.
That's the thing, that is right now we're on a completely new territory. This particular sequence didn't happen in the original.
So, yeah, so get this, guys. Instead, okay, now they dropped the lamp, but so instead of facing off...
Great job, you moron.
So instead of facing off against a giant snake, now we go Jace off against giant Iago Parrot. What do you think of this, Shiroi and Dwibs? Is this a step up from the original, or what?
No. Hell, if you're gonna have him be giant, have Alan Tudyk do something awesome with it. No, you bother to get Alan Tudyk to play Iago, and he does nothing.
He just says generic parrot quotes, but look, he's giant!
Yeah, this was totally worth not getting Gilbert Gottfried.
Again! Rub the lamp, you dumbasses! Seriously, they have had so many opportunities to just rub the lamp.
Hey, Jasmine, you know how you've been singing about how you're super awesome and you will not be be silenced.
Wow.
Now will be a good time.
Wow, okay, so the Sultan literally just got the drop on Jafar by literally knocking into him. Good God, Jafar sucks in this.
And Guy Ritchie slow-mo there again.
Yoink. You were saying?
It's like he just orgasmed. Like,
that was Jafar trying to roar, everyone. Thank you very much.
Oh no, he's causing
again, okay, yeah, good, you lost the lamp, how nice. Woohoo. Again, you had so many chances to rub the lamp and oh no, carpet!
No, it was my favorite character.
He was practically the only character who resembled his original variant, and he's dead now.
You will find me intimidating, so help you God.
Okay, and this is where Jafar just becomes outright pathetic.
Even more?
Yep, even more.
What's he gonna do now?
Just watch. Okay, so he literally has them now.
Well, okay, it looks like Jafar has won. Okay. We're fucked. And that was the end of the movie. Jafar wins, and credits.
Wait, hold on. It's too late to go ham. I'm sorry.
I mean,
It's like he's It's like he's literally begging to be taken serious.
Take me seriously, please, Shiroi. Take me seriously. I'm an intimidating villain. I swear. Am I not intimidating?
Say nothing if he's not intimidating.
Crickets, 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 crickets.
Oh boy, here we go.
Clearly, Shiroi is blown away by how intimidating Jafar is.
He called him second.
second? That
Well, yeah,
makes
to be
me
fair.
mad.
Well, that's what this is what he does. Though worded differently in the original, mind you.
I'll take me seriously.
I am the better one.
Look at him. He literally looks like he was on the verge of crying.
Oh yeah, look at
Jesus Christ.
our villain, everybody. This is our villain, Whips.
Most powerful being in the universe. How's the genie gonna twist this wish?
Well, a lot of gray area, so a genie.
Oh man.
And by God, as a genie, even as a genie, Jafar looks lame. Yes, you're right. I hear you breathing.
Shiroi went speechless.
Speechless. But guys, now he'll invade Shurabad.
Even as a genie, he looks lame. Look at
Oh,
that.
sorry, dude. Shurabad will have to wait.
I just told you I haven't done anything. Can you not hear?
Yes, the lamp.
Well, so far you haven't been announced to be in the next movie, so...
Of course the parrot comes in with him because that happened in the original.
It happened in the original, so whatever. Not that.
It made more sense because Iago was more of a character. But here it's just...
It's like, I'm not going anywhere without my bland parrot.
Bing!
But wait, I'm not the Sultan anymore. Still.
Yeah, that's a good point. Shouldn't he have, been poofed back into his Sultan clothes?
Whatever. I don't care. It's not the movie's almost over. Look.
It's a shame. The movie seemed like it was trying, but now it feels like it's just giving up.
Giving up. Jinx.
We all make
we all
mistakes.
make mistakes. Maybe a line like that in a movie like this is a bit ironic, don't you think? I mean, that'd be like what if like in like Jupiter Ascending, they outright mocked Eddie Redmayne's voice in that film.
I wonder.
Shirei, what do you make of all this?
Like I said, Shiroi went speechless. Unfortunately,
Genie accidentally took her voice.
No, that's the thing. I was making reference to this movie. She went speechless.
Then you have to sign a law repealing the.
Remember that he's a genie, he can just magic it up. So.
Well, I mean, he did help save the day, so.
So here's another change from the original. Whereas in the original, Genie still, kept his magic. He was just, sort of a downgraded Genie. Here, he's apparently full-on human.
Yep. It's just so we can spare more on the special effects budget.
Kinda makes me wonder how the sequel will go, if that's taking cues from Revenge of Jafar, but guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Thank you. Now I can stay here and not be in Gemini, man. I mean, why not? That film's been delayed for so many years anyway. What's another 2 decades?
Oh boy. Aww, he found love with the handmaiden Dahlia.
Oh, nice. Jesus.
Wow,
Yeah!
you're,
That's a bit sudden.
Surprise!
I want kids.
Surprise! It
It's a bit-
turns out that they're the parents.
Well, yeah, we could have already. I already kind of figured it out even before we got to this point, though.
Like I said, I guessed it literally the first time I watched the film with you.
True, but well, okay. He's telling it to 2 children who seem like they're kids, and so you can probably put one and one together. That yeah.
It's nice, and I guess it's a way to, again, like in the original, have the same guy who plays the genie also play the guy who's telling the story, since Robin Williams was also playing the merchant who starts off the story in the original. Yay! Jasmine is now the future of Agrabah.
What is this? A female sultan? Most unorthodox. I mean, were there okay? Not that I mind you, because fiction version of Arabian shit like that. But back in the time period in Arabia, were there even female sultans?
Not really, but let's say for the sake of argument, mystical stuff here and
Well,
there.
but like you yourself said, Joe, but this is supposed to be the more realistic take or some shit.
True. Yeah, that is true. Wow, I love how so I guess then the people in the town are like going, well, that happened.
Well, yeah, there was some weird tornado that came out of nowhere, and now it's gone. And what happened to the Sultan? We had like 3 Sultans now in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Aww.
Seriously, the turnover of leaders in this is even more than Whoever's supposed to be leading the Avengers.
So I guess this is supposed to be their wedding?
We're skipping straight to the end of Aladdin 3. There you go.
Yeah, see, there's your Aladdin 3 adaptation. Now we can skip the rest of it.
Oh, everything all right in there, Shirai?
Sounded like,
Yeah.
Oh, your breathing sounded weird there for a bit. Of course,
So,
a reprisal of the best thing to come from this movie, friend like me.
This movie is full of reprises, isn't it?
Hey, Shirai.
What?
I noticed that you went speechless.
Are you proud of that?
Yes, I am actually.
Seriously though, Suri, did this movie really jolt you into silence for that long? Seriously.
I'm just so indifferent to this for the most part. I don't really care.
I can't.
I
entirely
can't
blame
really
you.
be all that mad at this remake, but I can't really like it that much either.
Oh, goody! It's the perfect in between of purgatory.
No, don't worry, Jova. She'll have a lot more to rant about in the next one we're doing.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'll announce that after. But yeah, okay. Again, to be fair, this is literally the best thing, friend like me. So sure, why not?
It's just the actors having fun, basically.
it's like the last performance you get in a pantomime.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Bam.
Yeah. The last guy we see in the movie
And now,
is the genius.
Will, go, bring it up, Will.
Pretty much. Uh-huh. Yeah, again, thank God they remembered. Hey, we have Will Smith. Maybe we should have him rap some.
Would have made After Earth more entertaining.
Alright then. I think, is there an
Uh,
after credit scene on this one?
I don't think so.
No, I'm pretty sure there isn't.
Okay,
I don't remember there being
Let me
one.
check the film's. I'll check the film's Wikipedia page because that's normally very good.
There isn't. I just
That's
checked
it.
myself.
alright, in the meantime,
cool.
Yeah, there is.
I'll go first with my final thoughts since I conducted this one to do a comparison with The Wiz here. So, for the final results of this film, what do we have here? Okay, so like I said, comparing this to The Wiz here, song-wise, this movie loses because it unfortunately is not able to recapture the magic with a lot of its songs, unfortunately. And don't get me wrong, The Wiz, staging-wise and filming-wise, didn't do that either, but what The Wiz did do was make sure that the song and music was great on all of the songs. The problem with this movie is that the singing is not on par, unfortunately, all the time here. Oh, thank goodness Will Smith can sing, definitely. But I think the major key point goes to the fact that A Whole New World was, as Shirai put it, very unremarkable compared to the original. And that's kind of a cardinal sin. It's like having the Beauty and the Beast song of Beauty and the Beast turn out crap. It's like having... well, okay, any song in The Lion King turned out to be crap. Be prepared. And don't even get me started on what Mulan 2020 did. And there was that weird thing Dumbo apparently does. But regardless, the first thing that this movie loses out on is the singing and the songs are not all up to snuff. Secondly, the saving graces. The Wiz had a lot more saving graces than this movie has, which is, let's be honest, really just Will Smith at most. Maybe Naomi Scott, but not much. And if anything, I'm gonna agree with Whips. I feel like her handmaiden had more character than her here and there. The villain was done better in The Wiz, even though she had less screen time, because Jafar in this movie is so weak. And Iago is even weaker. Jesus Christ. Come to think of it, this version of A Whole New World they're playing right now may have been better than the actual version sung in the movie. Ouch.
I've come off the movie, so
Yeah, me too. The credits are rolling, so yeah, I'm off.
Unless
Okay,
it's
I'm not leaving. I'm just.
Unless it's an MCU movie, obviously.
Well, this isn't an MCU.
It isn't. So continue.
Aladdin will return in Lion King 2.
Aladdin and Lion King 2. How would that even work?
What? That'd be an interesting crossover. Hey, guys, let's do a crossover of all the Disney live action remakes. We'll call it the Avenge Remakers.
Maybe we can have Nala hunt either Yago or Abu. Who knows?
Probably.
I give them their personalities back.
I know, right? But yeah, this movie again. Whereas The Wiz felt like a heart-driven project that failed for obvious reasons, this one feels like something that did not have all of its heart into it. It feels like it had half of its heart into rushing through the obvious stuff that happens in the original, a quarter of its heart in actually trying to make stuff better, and then a quarter of its heart where it didn't know what it was doing. Seriously, this movie is such a mess. Don't get me wrong, The Wiz was a mess as well, but The Wiz was at least more of a consistent mess. This is just a roller coaster ride, and that unfortunately makes for more of a disjointed viewing experience here. Also, yeah, want to know another thing The Wiz actually did was get back some of the original actors, too, when they had the chance. This movie had a chance with Gilbert Gottfried and didn't bring him back. No!
Not even just that. Not only did they not bring back Gilbert Gottfried, they wasted Alan Tudyk completely. Completely.
It's frustrating. Really frustrating. But okay, enough about why this is not as good as The Wiz. Let me just talk about this movie in and of itself. Not even comparing it to the obviously superior 1992 version here. This movie feels like it tries to be serious in all the wrong ways, while also downplaying on some stuff that actually would help here and there. It's an unfortunate mentality. Oh, we gotta be more serious now that we're in live action, so that means we can't have any of the more playful or musical elements, which is horse crap if you ask me. Come on, don't act like you're ashamed of what you're adapting. Actually, put into it. Be like it more. Or, man up to it. It's just so frustrating here. And the pacing is so off and on. For the first 15 or so minutes, it's terribly fast. Then when the genie finally shows up, it's proper and fine. Then, near the ending of the climax, it feels like it rushes again. To the point where they literally have to have characters act like idiots just to move the plot along. That said, Will Smith was good enough, but I actually would not mind a prequel and sequel to this. I pray that they will improve it, but Will Smith was just that much of a saving grace to me that, like I said, this movie is not really that good. Hell, probably not even good at all. Well, except for the Will Smith bits. Yeah, that's the thing. Will Smith alone saved this movie for me, which is more than can be said for a lot of other live-action Disney remakes, so kudos for getting that right, because if they had gotten that wrong, that would have just absolutely moved this movie to trash tier for me. That's the thing, this movie is stuck in a purgatory of not being terrible enough to really leave that much a mark as terrible, but not being that good enough to really warrant praise either. We can only hope that they'll improve with later material, but I'm not holding my breath. Okay, next.
I go next.
Yeah, go on.
In terms of remakes, I don't think it was awful. I'd rank it more, say, mid-tier
Yeah.
than anything else. Mainly because of Will Smith, and also I mean, there were a few other entertaining moments in the movie, not just from Will Smith.
Fair.
Um, however, there are, however, I mean, and also for the most part, the cast did give a good performance, considering that they didn't have a whole lot to work with. However, there are some problems with the movie as well, namely, yeah, the villain. I haven't seen this actor in anything else, so maybe he's good in other things. But in this one, not so much. He's about as intimidating as a pantomime villain, and that's not a good thing.
Please, Genie, make them find me intimidating.
I'll
my
show
wish.
you! I'll show them all! I'm the best! I cannot be number 2! What have you done to me? What have you done to me?
Nothing, man. You're kind of embarrassing yourself.
Exactly.
Like,
But,
just shut up and die, maybe.
yeah.
I don't know.
Also, the new song is fine, but all it is really is just it's just the "I Won't Be Silenced" song,
It's
and
definitely no
that's
Evermore.
it. And that's it.
Mhm.
And Guy Ritchie, okay, I think he does a better job at being a first-time musical director than Sidney Lumet was. But that's not really much of an accomplishment. There's still those weird times of random slow-mo that he likes to do in his movies. There's some shots that feel like there's some instances of weird cutting back and forth, cutting to a different shot every half a second.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not as all over the place as when Olivia Megaton does it, but that's not really saving much here. As hard as some of the cast do work, some of the material they have is just bleh. And yeah, I mentioned the one of the songs. I mean, the score as a whole is just kind of there, which is a bit baffling considering it's from Alan Menken.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, snap! That's right! Alan Menken was involved with this.
Well, yeah, he did
Yes.
the score. He's usually been involved with these remakes. He did the score new songs for Beauty and the Beast too, and he did a much better job of that remake for the record.
Yeah.
I'm particularly looking forward to him doing both the music. He's doing the music for the Little Mermaid remake at the same time that Lin-Manuel Miranda writes the lyrics. Holy crap!
Yeah, that should hopefully be pretty cool.
Yeah, but overall, it's fine. I mean, I don't hate it as much as say Maleficent,
Oh God, no.
but it's still not great. I can see some potential for improvement, but everyone who's on board with that one has to put in the extra effort to make it work.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they do, because I'm not as against the concept of live action remakes as other people seem to be. I'm just against them when they don't work,
Same.
and also this. Also, to be honest, it's not the first time Disney have had a streak of not very good live action movies. Does anyone remember the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
How funny
didn't
that was, while they were doing great in animation, live action wise was
Yeah, Mr. Magoo. Yeah, and Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, overall it's fine, but I hope that any sequel that comes out of this improves.
I agree. Pedro.
Ugh, okay. Like I've said, Will Smith is awesome. But that's really the as far as I'll go, like, and yeah, like there are a couple moments here and there, like the argument between Jasmine and Aladdin, which was slightly better handled. But then they have moments like the moment where where Aladdin is telling the genie that he can't free him, which was way worse handled. So it's a bit tough to really give much more credit. Yeah, like the singing from our two leads is only serviceable, and as a result, a lot of the songs don't really pack enough punch. The 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 first 15 minutes feels rushed as fuck. In fact, a lot of moments in this movie feel rushed as fuck. The and the complete waste of that. Okay, here's our plan. Not only are we going to deny them Gilbert Gottfried's return, we're going to waste Alan Tudyk. Two offenses in one swoop. Like, seriously. It's like it's like if I didn't get
It's like if they didn't get us James Earl Jones to play Mufasa, and instead got someone like Rob Schneider to play Mufasa instead.
Well, to be honest, Jova, from what I've seen of James Earl Jones's performance in the recent Lion King,
It's still better than what we got for Iago here, let's be honest.
not a hard bar to meet, but yeah, sure. Yeah, that's the basis of it. Like the movies just feels everything not involving Will Smith feels so soulless and clearly fabricated to just make money based on people's nostalgia for the original film, for the fact that they don't even bother making this movie stand alone, because so many of the things in this movie require you to have knowledge of the original to properly otherwise. But I mean, imagine a little kid who's never seen the original watching this movie. He's going to be confused a lot about things because the story doesn't bother to actually slow down and explain shit. Ugh, whatever. It's really it just doesn't work. It doesn't. Will Smith tries his hardest to save this thing, but for me it doesn't quite manage to. Like, he's not in it enough to really save it, because
He's at least carrying it.
he's carrying it, but by the end of it all, he ends up dropping it still.
I have to wonder how much his back hurt from carrying this movie, because Jesus Christ.
Anyway, yeah, our leads are kind of boring. Our villain is absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. I have no idea how the hell Guy Ritchie thought, yep, this is what I'm gonna go with Jafar. Definitely. Like, ugh. I'm not sure if it's the actor's fault, if it's Guy Ritchie's fault, if it's both. But nothing about Jafar in this movie works. Nothing. Everything is just pathetic. Oh my god, this guy's acting doesn't work at all. Oh, ugh. It's so horrible. Ugh. You know how they say a hero is only as good as his villain? Well, in that case, Aladdin is kind of screwed, isn't he?
Yeah, just a bit.
I'll say.
Oh man. The point is, yeah, while not as bad as something like Dumbo or Mulan, it's still not good. Not really. Again, Will tries his best, but by the end of it, he ends up dropping. Jafar's patheticness ends up weighing in too much, and he ends up dropping it still. So it's just, I mean, he's trying his hardest, but it's just too much. It's just too much for him to carry. There's only so much one man can carry. So it is tragic. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it is possible that the Genie prequel can be better, but I'm not gonna hold my breath personally, because I don't know, like, for all I know, maybe they will, well, no, maybe if they let Will improvise, maybe, but I'm not gonna hold my breath, because I'm not really in the point is, yeah, this movie doesn't work. It doesn't have any reason to exist, because Will Smith, yeah, like I said, Will Smith is awesome, but still not awesome enough to warrant the making of this movie. He's not quite, this movie not quite. It still doesn't quite manage to justify its existence. Not really. So yeah, that's about it for me. Sure, close us out.
Well, I'm sorry for not saying much for the finale, but like the others have said, this is pretty much a middle of the road / leaning on the lower end of the Disney live action remakes. It's just there. It doesn't, like, The Lion King is also one that's technically middle road, but I don't know, I just feel less for this one. Like, I just want to watch the original movie more. This didn't need to be 2 hours. Jafar is boring. The others have said it throughout this, but intimidating, like silent and intimidating, doesn't always, work. And this clearly didn't work. Will Smith is carrying the movie for as much as he can. I appreciate a little bit that they tried to flesh out some of the characters, but that didn't work either. And the characters that didn't need fleshing out, quote unquote, were just characterized incorrectly, I guess.
Mm.
The music is fine, I think. I prefer the instrumentation for the original movie. And that's actually why Speechless threw me off the first time I heard it, because the instrumentation for this movie, for the whole soundtrack, is a bit different. But I was thinking of Speechless in relation to the instrumentation for the original movie, and it just doesn't fit.
It really doesn't.
No. It's... I don't... A lot of these Disney remakes just didn't need to happen. This is one of them. And that's it, I think.
These remakes are at their best when they're taking a movie that feels outdated or was never good to begin with, like Pete's Dragon, and just completely reinventing them. But the Cinderella took what was classic about the original movie and improved upon it by giving the prince an actual personality, for example.
It's like I've said, there was quite an interesting take on this. You could argue that Sleeping Beauty did need a remake. Sure wish we'd gotten a proper one, but I digress. Maleficent was a thing. Then Cinderella came out. It was damn good. You could argue Cinderella didn't really need a remake, but this was a remake that actually did think on how to improve stuff. And come on, Helena Bonham Carter as the Blue Fairy was awesome. Well, not so much Blue Fairy, so much as she is White Fairy, but whatever. Fairy Godmother, Helena Bonham Carter was awesome. So
Pete's Dragon, still to this point, still being the peak of these live-action remakes, because it did exactly what these remakes should be about: taking the movies that didn't work the first time around and actually making them work this time.
that said, I would argue Jungle Book was also good as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed Jungle Book as well, and I did enjoy how the ending is much more faithful to the original book. So there's that.
Then there came, of course, Beauty and the Beast, which I'd say at worst that movie is harmless. I mean, it's weak. It's weaker than the animated version, but I consider it overall harmless.
I think Diva from Musical Hell put it best. It's one of those cases where the movie knows what to do to make itself at the very least enjoyable on some merit. So it's a complicated case. It's probably the most complicated to talk about of all the remakes, because Evermore is a fantastic new song. So fantastic. It's not even from the Broadway. No, it was literally made for that remake. And it's so awesome.
That said,
that song alone is so great.
That said, I get the feeling that our next Disney live-action remake commentary won't be as complicated as that to talk about, because after Christopher Robin, like I said, 2019 was an interesting year for the Disney live-action remakes, i.e. it was the year where people were really getting sick of them, because there were no less than 4 of them this year.
Which is interesting, because Christopher Robin technically is a sequel to Winnie the Pooh, not a remake.
Yeah.
Although it's counted in there, it's confusing, I know.
I mean, I thought it was all right.
But you know what? To be fair, Like when we look back at 101 Dalmatians and 102 Dalmatians, these live-action remakes don't have to suck. I mean, those were done before live-action Disney remakes became a trend, but they were pretty good in their own right here and there.
They don't have to suck, but when Disney realized that they were gonna make money anyway, regardless of whether or not they do suck, they just stopped trying.
Case in point, our next project that we'll be looking at regarding the Disney live-action remakes. Pedro, why don't you clue in the audience what's coming up?
In the near future, we're gonna do one of the other 2019 releases from this lineup. One that I'm sure, for the record, everybody, some behind-the-scenes information. This is the movie that broke the camel's back on Shiroi's part, because this is the remake that officially made Shiroi go, okay, that's enough.
Cease and desist.
Wow.
Jova, to give you an idea, not even a half-assed Batman Returns reunion can save that movie.
Oh. Oh boy.
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah,
Keaton,
the movie Pedro is referring to is pretty bad.
the Dumbo remake. Yes, Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton are in that movie for the record.
So... Maybe directed by Tim Burton again.
Huh.
Yeah.
That is a Batman Returns reunion.
The problem is that it's Tim Burton going back to his Dark Shadows type. This is not Frankenweenie or Big Eyes Tim Burton. No, unfortunately, this is one of those cases where we got Dark Shadows Tim Burton.
Oh,
Yay.
boy.
So tune in next time. Well, not next time necessarily, because we still haven't determined when it will be specific, but it's in the near future. In the near future, prepare yourselves, everybody, because the Dumbo remake is coming. So
No.
Yes, Shiroi. Shiroi. Dread it. Run from it. Destiny
You know what?
always
Get it over
arrives.
with, I guess.
and like I said, there will, unlike with this movie, there will be no one to try to carry it. Not even Michael Keaton can carry that thing. So yeah.
All right,
See you
we'll
next
see you then.
time.